My name's Shelley Argent, and the reason that I'm involved in the LGBT community is I have a gay son. And he came out in 1995 when the only right he had was to be gay. And I just could not understand how the day before he told me he had all the rights in the world, but then from the day that he did tell me, he then had no rights. And to me as a mother, I just didn't think that was fair. Well, the things that I've been involved with since James came out is initially I went to the AIDS Council to learn as much as I could about his life and the general community. And from there I got involved with education campaigns, and one thing has led to another, and I'm a person that when the more you do, the more you see there is to do. And so that has taken me from just being an education volunteer to all the different campaigns that I have done throughout the years, whether that be federally or state, and lobbying the politicians, both federal and state. And I'm quite fortunate that I've been doing it now for about 20 years, and I'm quite well known, and so that helps to give me credibility and opens a lot of doors. Well, some of the approaches that I've used really aren't difficult. To me, it's quite simple. And I just encourage people. I'm open, I'm friendly, I just talk about it. To me, being LGBTIQ is not a big issue, and I think the more that we can normalise it in society and break away with all the myths and the fears, the easier it is for people to understand, and the easier it is for our sons and daughters to have acceptance and support in the general community. Some of the challenges that I've faced are just ignorance, and to me, and just the refusal to even think about change. And that's generally been with the politicians, who have been more concerned about will they be elected next year or the next election than doing what's right, not what's easiest. I find that extremely difficult to deal with. Then of course, then you have the myths that people that believe, and they're so outdated. And I think again, it's just breaking down the barriers, it's just talking. And because I always say I talk in simple speak, and anybody can understand what I'm saying, I think that's a big help, because I do what I call the academic talk. Oh, some of the successes I've seen, well, I mean, of course, success is when you get legislation passed. And I remember my very first piece of legislation I was involved with was de facto rights in Queensland, which is for same-sex couples. Well, now that is just nothing. But really, what I wanted when I started doing this was for my son to have the right to get married and to have the right to have children. And so to me now, they are the big successes, because I was very involved with the adoption and the parental recognition and surrogacy. I think they're extremely important. And then also federally, it was the economic equality when Rudd came in, and now it's the marriage equality that has been introduced. And of course now there is the religious discrimination. I would think the special skills that I have are not academic. I think it's really that it's the love of a mother for her son, and the determination to make sure that he is always seen as equal to his brother. And I think I have done that just by being determined, never giving up. If I don't know the answer, I just keep going until I get the answer. And I don't care if people get sick of me, that's fine. I still need to keep asking the questions. And I think also it's the more you do, the more you see there is to do. And I think that's basically it. And never allowing myself to be put down by anybody or talked over by anybody. And just standing up for myself and my son. I think parents and carers can be very influential because it's their child. Our love should not be conditional for our child or children. And to me, when a child comes and says, "Mum, Dad, I'm gay or I'm trans or something," you know that that child is very serious, because it's not something that they would do on a fad or a phase. It's not cool. It's very difficult. And I know that with young people, with coming out, it's very often the parents' reaction that is most important. And we need to support our children, and the children need to know that, okay, you might be struggling with what they've been told, or they don't understand, but they need to still know that that child is still extremely important. It's still their child, and nothing's changed. Your sexuality, when it all comes down to it, is very small, and it's the person, not their sexual orientation, that matters. And when it's a trans child, okay, so the outside of the child may change when they transition, but the inside of that person or the child is still the same, and it still has the same emotions, the same feelings, the same needs as it did before it transitioned. And I think that's what parents need to know. And I also think if society sees the parent standing by the child, not behind or hiding, then society knows that don't mess with that parent, it's fine. Oh, a lot. I think with teachers and schools, I think first of all, when you send your child to the school, you expect that child to be in a safe place and receiving an education, because that's what it's there for. It doesn't matter if the teacher doesn't agree, that's fine. They don't have to agree, but they still have to teach that child and ensure that it's safe. Also, I think at schools, there should be safe places where that child can go if it's feeling unsafe or in danger. And I think with schools, if they are uncertain about what to do or what is the next step, they should be contacting LGBTIQ organisations, either for information or for somebody to come and give a bit of training to the teachers and the staff at that school. Well, I think in a sense, young people and what they can do to change the community, I think in one sense it's very difficult depending on the age of the child. But I think if the parent is supporting the child, that helps, and that helps the child feel that they have some control in their lives. But I think also to children, young people, they need to talk about their feelings to people and how they feel and how they treat or react, or when they're being bullied or something. And I think a lot of people underestimate that.